Hey, we're checking out Asmon's Hasan take. I have not watched this yet, but considering by the like and dislike ratio and the discourse around this one, it has to be fucking good. Basically, what I understand of the situation, one, I don't like Hasan, so I'm gonna be biased probably. It's not like a hatred or anything. I just have heard a lot of his takes and just disagree with them. It's not a weird hatred thing, but I typically disagree with him, so I doubt I'm going to agree with this point. But from what I heard, it is a take about streamers having such a hard life, and obviously, everyone who works a real job is going to disagree. But Asmon's a streamer. It's weird because Asmon has said this. He has said the opposite. So I'm curious why this video is getting so much hate. I guess we'll see. Let's go.
I actually wasn't even planning on streaming today. I was like, I think I'm gonna just take the day off. But I started reading Twitter. I was like, man, there's a lot of retards. Like, we gotta talk about this. Millionaire streamer Hasan Piker claims that a real job doesn't suck the soul out of you in the same way that streaming will. And the funny thing about this is,
I'm in the army. I have to disagree. Bruh. My soul died about 3 years ago.
that this kid goes and he says this to try to like fucking throw up a white flag. He's like, no, I'm actually on your side. I agree with them. Bro, quit the fucking capping. Like, this kid is lying. You're lying. What do you mean you agree with this tweet when you preface it by saying millionaire streamer? You really think that we don't, like, you think I haven't spent the last 20 years seeing Fox News do this shit? Seeing CNN do this shit? He definitely is trying to roast the shit out of him. Like, what are we talking about? What a little rat.
So his funds are important for this because when you look at it, you're talking about, when he's talking about taking your soul, it's draining. Over time, you get fatigued. I'm guessing that's what he means, right? When you look at the amount of money he makes, he has the option to quit. A lot of streamers do. So when people hear this complaint, people's souls are drained in a job, typically because they're trapped there and they have no choice but to keep working, whether they have a family or whatever. I don't know Hasan's situation. I don't know if he's taking care of a lot of people, but he's making millions of dollars from what I understand. Millions. A single million can last a person a really long fucking time. You don't need luxuries. So when somebody complains and says, oh, my job is so draining, and you ask, what do you do? And they say stream versus what other people have to do to make that kind of money. Like, let's talk about actors, for example, right? If you look how an actor earns their money, yeah, sometimes it's easier roles than others, but they put a lot of fucking work in. If you're talking about someone like Hugh Jackman or Chris Evans or somebody like that, right, that has to be really fit for the, I'm going to use Wolverine and Captain America for this. You have to be really fit for a role. Their entire life revolves around that. What they eat, how they sleep, how much water they drink. They have to go times where they're dehydrated. These are things that physically affects their body. So even if you think, oh, acting isn't that hard, it's definitely 10 million times harder than streaming, in which case your body doesn't really matter to the audience too. It depends on what you're streaming, obviously, but like commentary streamers, Asmon doesn't look like he's extremely fit and he's one of the most popular streamers out there. Hasan looks like an asshole because he, no, I'm just kidding. I'm joking. Hasan, he doesn't look particularly amazing. Most people don't. Kai, I don't think he's not like super fit or anything. It doesn't affect your physical health being commentary or like a joking kind of streamer or like doing events and stuff. I think it's a very easy job on the surface. I think there's mental resilience you need. But again, I'm in the military, and if somebody has the argument streaming is somehow more damaging to your mental health, I would challenge them on that. And yeah, it's one of those things where every job isn't for everyone. If you can't fucking take it, I just talked about this with the MTAS shit. If you can't take it, fucking quit. You've already made millions. Nobody cares.
Can't believe this. It's like this guy goes and farms a bunch of hate. My message to Hasan fans, get a job. But then he agrees with the tweet. What are you doing? What a little...
Yeah, nah, Asmon's 100% right. The dude obviously doesn't fucking like Hasan. I mean, I don't know why you pretend at that point. I'm not even gonna pretend I don't like him. He's a piece of shit.
This guy farms hate on Hasan. He gets 15 people from Hasan's chat saying, I don't agree with you. You took it out of context. And then he's got to make a follow-up tweet about it. Like, oh no, stop bullying me. He changed his mind because Destiny said he agrees with Hasan. TC Brady is in Destiny's Discord.
Go figure, another streamer who put their life publicly of their own accord is complaining that it's strenuous on their mental health. I have a feeling for certain streamers and stuff that don't outwardly debate and do all this sort of thing, they're gonna have a different time. I don't think streamers in general have a really tough job. Like, I don't see it. You turn on a fucking camera, there's work that goes into it. People who say it's not a job are fucking stupid when people are putting hundreds to thousands of hours in it. It's a job. But it's just not that hard, bro. It's like the Bill Burr and on motherhood. Like, it's just not the hardest job. I'm sorry. Like, boo-hoo. I feel so sorry for you and your millions of dollars from sitting in front of a screen.
It's good to know that it wasn't really a principled stance. Let's listen to what Hasan says. And this is the clip that's taken apparently out of context. And we'll watch the full context in a minute, okay?
Yes, a real job can be gruesome, a real job can make you very tired, but a real job doesn't suck the soul out of you, you know what I mean? In the same way that 9 hours of streaming absolutely will.
What? Like, what? By what metric? Like, you think that, have you worked a real job? Like, Hasan, how long have you been streaming? Like, have you worked 99% of the jobs out there where it's fucking brutal, bro? There are days I fucking hate my job, and it's just like, you go into a hole, you get depressed, you come home, you don't want to do anything, you don't talk to your family, you don't talk to your friends, you worked all day. And there are days where I don't work as much. There are days where I'm working way longer than everybody else with a typical job, and I don't get paid extra. So, like, this idea that, man, a normal job, like, what? What about coders who sit at a computer screen for hours fucking typing away, minimal social interaction and this sort of thing? What about freaking, I think game designers have a harder job. You have way more scrutiny to waiting you for when your product's done, and it's for something you know you're putting years of work into, and the final product might be complete shit. So this idea that you can't just, there's no other job where you sit down and your fucking life force is being pulled out of your body just isn't true. People who work any retail or fast food job would feel the same exact thing. Am I crazy? Like, what? Probably to a worse extent, because you're dealing with people. You have to put on a mask, and it's not comments, it's words. It's people in your face. It's people who are rude and disrespectful all the time. This take makes no sense. And again, this is one of the reasons I don't typically agree with Hasan, because he's like, you know what I mean? No, we don't know what the fuck you mean, because we all work real jobs and we get paid a fraction of what you do for 10 times the work. Like, there are people with messed up backs, messed up fingers, messed up legs due to their work, and you're sitting here talking about, oh, it doesn't drain your soul. Yeah, it drained our soul and then fucking took a piece of our bodies. What do you know about that? Nothing.
So,
okay,
yes.
So that's the original clip, and there's apparently, this is there's a clip here. It's a 2-minute clip, and so this is him explaining what actually was said.
No.
Okay, here we go.
No,
I've been covering
social battery wise, unless you're in retail, unless you're in fucking retail,
I'm gonna
it's
go
very
up
different. You're out of touch with them. I'm gonna die, dude. There's motherfuckers who are accountants in here, and they're misunderstanding what I'm saying. A real job does not expend your social battery in the same fucking way as someone who did a sales job, a real job, okay? I'm telling you, as someone who did both, like 9 hours of constant performance and people pleasing taps you out from social scenarios. After 9 hours of that, I could probably do fucking physical labor.
That's my entire job. Let me tell you guys something. So I'm gonna let him continue. I'm gonna just finish this, and then I'm gonna say
It would not bother me, but I can't fucking do more social shit. That's my point.
I'm the same way.
Like, there are obviously real jobs out there that are good comparisons. Service sector, people-pleasing jobs would be very similar. Those are, like, I think, customer service type shit. But, like, if you're an accountant, or if you're even, like, in sales, my interactions with clients was limited, way more limited than, like, constantly having to do this for 9 hours with, like, a back and forth interaction for 9 hours. That's what like sucks your social battery, and you just tap out after it.
homie did not ever work a fucking actual retail or sales job with this opinion, because there are people who work longer hours than that. There are people who do overtime. Like 9 hours isn't a very long fucking time. I'm gonna tell you right now, there have been we have 24-hour shifts. It's called fucking staff duty. And I know military isn't exactly the most normal job, but I'm just going to put this into perspective. And the reason I'm going to say this is because my opinion may be somewhat skewed because of the work I do. And I've been in the military since I was still a teenager, technically, right? So my opinions, you have to look at it. It's going to be framed like this, right? I've worked retail, by the way. I worked at Express and Times Square. So I have a pretty good understanding of sales. I've worked Thanksgiving and I've worked Black Friday in a retail job in Times Square. Like, and by the way, Thanksgiving's worse than Black Friday, if you're wondering, because the Thanksgiving Day parade brings a lot more people, and Black Friday sales start before Black Friday. But anyway, I've done both. I just don't have any sympathy for them, because I have, in the military, you have a certain way you have to address people, whether they know what they're talking about or not. You've never had to stand a certain way for someone due to it being part of your job description. Parade rest, attention, that sort of thing. And someone can be chewing you out over some bullshit. And this is happening to me. And people can be chewing you out. You got to stand there and take it. And you want to talk to people who work jobs like mine and try to tell us that your job is so hard and that you don't have a social battery. Motherfucker, there are days where I just don't want to do anything after getting off of work, and those would be like 15-hour days. We're talking a 16-hour day. There are days where I've legit gotten off at I'll go to work at fucking 5:45 a.m. and I'll get in my bed at midnight. Like these are the kind of days we're talking, and that's not even talking about field exercises where it's 24 hours every day for like a week, 2 weeks, a month. And you have to put on this mask every day. And you want to talk about social interaction? If there are people who can handle that, you can handle sitting at a fucking screen. And people don't have to feel bad for you. I never look for sympathy from people as a soldier. Oh, you should feel bad for me. My job is so hard. Do I complain about it? Yeah, typically to my coworkers, but I'm not going to go out of my way. Like, if I didn't like I wouldn't have signed the contract. And unlike you, I don't have the option to even quit. Like, that's just not an option for me. You've made millions. And it's not even about the money. I don't have the option to quit because it's contract based. So I have to fulfill that contract, obviously, legally, or I go to jail. So this concept of being drained, like, I guarantee I know what it's like far more than Hasan, will ever know and has ever known. And I'll tell you right now, retail work isn't easy. It's just not. Like, no job is, not no job, but no job that requires you to interact with people is so easy that they don't know what a streamer goes through. Like, if you have to consistently interact with people, business jobs are like this. Like, you're interacting with random chatters. Like, bro, you can choose to read a comment and ignore it and just go about your day. It's not the same where you have one-to-one personal interactions. If you worked retail, if you worked sales before, you know this. It's a completely different drain on your body. You can literally look at a comment, say, you know, I don't even feel like adjusting that right now. Keep about your day. You don't get to just walk away from a customer and keep your fucking job. I don't get to just walk away from an officer or a sergeant or lower enlisted or anyone really and just be like, yeah, I'm not gonna interact with you. Like, this is something normal people have the ability to do. I don't feel bad for you. I think this is a stupid take, and I think it makes you look like a fucking crybaby. Quit your job if you feel this way, and you keep it pushing. You've made your money. Like, when is enough enough? And if it's not enough for you, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, think about it this way. Like, you give presentations for your job, right? Imagine giving a presentation for 9 hours straight. It's like, after a while, you'd be like, I don't want to talk.
Or the department manager just occasionally is just like, hey, you suck, bitch. Bald ass bitch, you fell off, huh? We're gonna remember this in your performance review. You fat fuck. Stupid ass bitch.
Ever again.
So people are getting mad. It's a bad take. What's it a bad take of? He says that he gets exhausted socially because he's talking to people for 9 hours a day. You really think that's
not what people are saying, Asmon? I'm gonna finish the video. Hopefully he does adjust this. But right here, that's not even what the conversation is. That's not what people are mad. If he said, guys, you know, I'm tired. I want to take a break. I talk to people 9 hours a day. This is hard work. You know, I need a break. My social battery dies, you know, that sort of thing. That would be 100% fine. People who have a problem with that be assholes, in my opinion. But it's what he said, if you guys remember, it's what he said beforehand, which is, it drains you more than other real jobs, which just isn't true. People are gonna have a opinion on that because it's just objectively untrue. If you look at mental health, I guarantee the people most affected with mental health issues are not gonna be fucking streamers. I promise you that. I want you to take a pool of soldiers and compare that to a pool of streamers and see who has a harder life and who's more drained and who has more social anxiety, who has more issues dealing with people after a long work day, because 9 hours isn't shit having to deal with people. And again, there's no higher authority for you to report to. You always have the option to just log off. You have the option to say no. You have the option to ignore comments. So this isn't even, you can't even equate those. So Asmon's completely missing the point here, and I don't understand how. I think because he's a streamer, he's obviously biased towards agreeing with Hasan to an extent, right? And yeah, but that's not what he was saying at all, Asmon. He was saying my life is harder than yours, and people are saying no, the fuck it isn't. And those people are objectively correct. You can't objectively say streaming is harder than 90% of jobs out there. Like anything physical, or anything where you have to constantly report to a higher person, you can't express too many opinions because you're not in a socially or structurally superior position to them. So now you have to deal with their bullshit and you can't speak back. You have no opinion on matters. But we're gonna finish. We're gonna see more what he has to say.
You really think that's not true? I mean, you really think it's not true that after you spend 9 hours being investigated by thousands of people with every facial movement, Everything you say.
That's not true.
Every word.
It's not every facial movement. It's not even everything you say. It depends on your content. If you're making opinionated videos on hot topics, that's going to be your worldview. But that's not the streamer experience. And I guarantee there are streamers out there that don't experience it anywhere near the extent Asmon's saying right now. This is him speaking from someone who covers hot topics consistently, and it's again objectively just not fucking true. It's just not true. It's not the experience of every streamer, and even if it was, streaming still wouldn't be the fucking hardest job. I'm sorry. It's not the most draining job. It's just like, I will argue for my stance because I have been in the military for multiple years, and that's my like longest work job. I'm going to stand on the fact that my experience is so much worse in every which way. Like, there's not a physically messed up back, messed up legs, everything. I know so many people with exact same scenario, messed up body parts, lost limbs, etc. Mentally draining. You have to always deal with people in the military. Like, for my job specifically, we work with comms and everything like that. You need a team. You're always communication. My job is literally labeled communication. I always, because of what we do, we typically work with higher ranking people than us. And you're always interacting with, it's not thousands of people, but you're interacting with a lot of fucking people every single day. Like, a lot of people. And you'll have a lot of times where you're interacting with people you don't know face to face. Once again, face to face. It's completely different from fucking getting texts on a fucking chat that's mostly bullshit that you can just ignore if you're smart. And you know what's crazy about this whole thing? You have the option to ban. I can't ban people I don't like in real life. Neither can those sales associates. Neither can those retail workers. Neither can those fucking contractors working with clients who are fucking retarded and don't know what they're talking about. People don't get the option to ban in real life. We don't get the option to just completely disregard everything someone has to say because we don't like it. So, different.
Word. With people constantly trying to disagree with you and fight with you. That's not emotionally, like socially draining. This is totally understandable. And he's not comparing it to every other job. He's saying compared to other jobs where you're not talking to people constantly.
He said
his take
any other
isn't broad
job.
Enough. Yeah, it is. He explained it pretty clearly.
He said other jobs.
The clip out of context.
Very general. And he was talking about, he was trying to say his job was the hardest. Like, what? We just watched it. Am I crazy? Maybe I'm misremembering. Like, I'm almost positive that's what he said. Oh, Jesus.
This was posted 30 minutes after he said that. Instantly on Reddit, it blew up calling him a dumbass, which just reinforces his argument. Well, yeah, it's definitely understandable. Exactly. Just
again, in my job, people get called worse. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people in business have experienced being called worse by people they can't respond to. That's the best part. Like, you have a platform. You can respond to as much criticism as you want. Everybody doesn't get that luxury.
Just think nobody knows what's really socially draining. Well, not saying it isn't, but it's not as bad as others. I think that, like, so streaming as like a job is extremely socially draining. It is. That's why, like, there's a weird catch-22 where a lot of streamers are introverted, but being a streamer requires you to do a lot of things that extroverts want you to do. So, like, in order to be good at something, you have to be one way, and in order to cope with it, the success of being good at it, you have to be another way. And so that's what it is. Hasan's basically explaining that in a more, direct way. You could say a simple.
I think it's funny because now that, like, I was thinking about it as he was speaking. Physically draining jobs will tire you out emotionally and mentally as well. Like, it's not just interacting with people. Like, hope he knows and other people know that these are connected. Your body and mind are like, you can't have one without the other. They are very connected. Anyone who works a really hard and grueling job physically, and there are plenty of more hard and grueling jobs than I have, I'd imagine that they are also emotionally and mentally drained as well. Socially, they don't want to interact with people. There are a lot of people who work 9 to 5s who don't have time, and that becomes mentally and emotionally and socially draining as well. So it's not even just you have to interact with people in order to feel emotionally drained. That's not even true. It can be plenty of things. It can be any physical job can have the same effect. Maybe not to the same extent, but if you're working really fucking hard, then I'd say it probably surpasses your being a streamer, even when it comes to being emotionally and mentally drained.
Poor way. And he's getting shit on. But a lot of people think they're introverted whenever they're actually extroverts. Well, I don't know about that. Did you start the stream? You went right into this? Yeah, because I usually spend the first hour of my stream talking about nothing. And like, then I don't like play video games until like it's midnight or like 5 hours into the stream. I didn't do anything. Like, we gotta get this shit done. Like, there's a lot of stuff to talk about today. I don't have time to fucking sit around and talk about like, oh, I went live late today because my back hurt. Oh my God. We really need to hear about this again?
Yeah, exactly.
Who the fuck cares?
Nobody cares. Nobody. Exactly.
So yeah. But yeah, we're not gonna get into that again. Having streaming as a job's exhausting situation. Yeah, of course it is, right?
I do want to say I 100% agree. It's not an easy job, and a lot of people aren't even mentally built for it. And I think if you aren't, like I spoke about it in my MTash Enviosity video, if you're not mentally there for that job, don't do it. Don't force yourself into a position you can't withstand for long periods of time, because at the end of the day, that career is just gonna end. How many people work physical jobs that they know for a fact a bunch of people can't do? It's why that discussion about like female workers in certain jobs just doesn't work out as often, because it's super physically grueling and other people are counting on you to be able to lift really heavy things, to move really heavy equipment, work heavy machinery, and that sort of thing. Some things people aren't built for, and that's okay. But like what he was saying, introverts who are streamers, again, people don't have sympathy for that, Asmon, because they're making that choice. People are making that choice to do that. So he's 100% correct here. It's a hard job in its own right, but in other areas it's not, and it's not the most mentally taxing. It's just not.
Hasan is right. People are just reactionary. They absolutely are. Someone actually said real job. What does that mean? A real job is a job that you have. Bullshit jobs are the ones that other people have. It's just that simple. It's quite trendy and quite frankly easy to shit on Hasan. That's the crux of it all. Well, hey, if it's so easy to shit on him, then why are you making up fake reasons to do it? If he's got so many bad takes.
Real jobs are jobs that people do that we need, but nobody, but they, a real job are jobs that we need done, like construction work and everything like that, but the people typically aren't paid enough for their work, and without those jobs, society would not function. That's what I consider a real job. That's what people mean when they say real job. I know he's trying to just say, well, it's just your job. The reason people say streamers aren't a real job because they could disappear and they would be replaced by 10 billion forms of other media, like they have been throughout all of human history. However, if the plumbers all disappeared, society as we know it would change a lot, and it would be worse. Less streamers, I don't think society would be worse or particularly better. I think there would be no real change.
Takes, and he says all this stuff that's wrong, then why not focus on that rather than taking something that's totally understandable and then turning it into something that it's not? He makes thousands of dollars a day. Him making takes trying to relate to normal working people is fucking stupid. Well, there are normal working people that also make thousands of dollars a day. So like, I don't really understand like what your point is.
Yeah, that was a bad point. I don't understand that.
Yeah, I mean, what do you mean?
Streamers can
stupid
relate
comparison.
to
Yeah, like
people
what?
who do normal jobs and
Like, you think
ways.
streamer is the only job that you can make a lot of money in? I have tons of friends that make tons of money. And a lot of them aren't streamers. Yeah, what do you mean? Like, that's... Yeah, what the fuck? No. It's chatter can't think past 2. Exactly. They're not normal anymore. Well, I think that is normal as in, like, they don't work in entertainment. Right? They don't work in entertainment. Why do people assume that money solves all your issues and doesn't drain you? Well, hey, Kanye West said it. He said that they're, I was gonna make a joke, but I figured, actually, you know what? We'll give that another 6 months before I make those jokes. He said, having money isn't everything, but not having it is. I think that's really the truth, right? That's it. So, like, if you don't have money, that's everything in your life. If you do have money, you realize that there are other problems in life that are also important. But if you don't have that, money is going to mean more to you than almost anything else. So, yeah. Streamer doesn't make a lot of money when you actually normalize the salary. Engineers, doctors, people in trades make median more than a streamer. Streaming is extremely top-heavy. Well, of course it is. And there are a lot of people that are grinding away, and they stream 8 hours a day, and they get, let's say, 300 viewers, 500 viewers. They make $100,000 a year. Let's be very, very optimistic here. They make $100,000 a year, and, like, I'll be real. If somebody was making that much money, and, you know, like, it was like, is this really a good idea for you to do this? Probably not. $100,000 is still a lot. It is a lot, but whenever you think about the fact that streaming is just so transient. Like, for example, you can get banned. Oh, well, now you're banned. Now what? Like, all...
People get laid off from their jobs randomly all the time. There's some states with, like, protective laws against this, and obviously certain jobs, there's unions. But generally, no. Like, when you see, like, those Blizzard employees or, like, Activision employees or whatever get laid off from their jobs and, like, massive amounts, like, how is that any different? Like, you could say, like, you're not gonna get banned for no fucking reason. I'd say streaming is a lot more stable than a lot of other jobs these days, especially like make that argument to a fucking artist. And I'm not against AI, by the way, but make that argument to an artist, like, well, streamers can be laid off randomly. Like, yeah, like everyone, like, no, not compared to everyone else. Like, Twitch isn't gonna just shut down, and when Twitch fires employees, like, those employees, that's not streamers. So I don't understand the stake. Like, normal people can't just randomly lose their job. Unfortunately, in the real world, that's not how it works.
All of your job experience, everything that you did, like, it's completely different. Like, you have like a 3-year gap in employment. You have like this online presence that, you know, creates a context in which people see you. So, yeah, you can get fired. Exactly. No, yeah, you definitely can get fired. But the difference is that, like, streaming, there are jobs that exist in entertainment that streaming helps you understand and learn. That's definitely true. But at the same time, there are also a lot of people, and I think in most traditional jobs, those people don't really have the same opportunities. It's like, for example, if you work as an accountant and you get fired from one place, it's not going to be as hard to get another job as an accountant. Versus if you work on Twitch and you stream on Twitch, you get banned on Twitch, it's probably going to be a lot harder for you to transition over to YouTube or Kick. That's my point, right?
That's complete bullshit. Anybody who's worked a real job and been fired knows that's fucking bullshit. That's not how that works. So there are jobs, obviously, this changes job to job. But a lot of streamers have moved platforms. Pokemon is a big one. We saw that. Obviously, as a smaller streamer, it's harder to get your fan base to just move over. But if you're streaming a lot, you probably should just have a YouTube channel. Like, there's so many more platforms, and unlike normal jobs, you don't have to go job searching. You instantly move over and you can rebuild. There's gonna be people who follow you if you have enough followers to make a living off of Twitch. So I don't understand this mindset. It doesn't make sense. This argument, like, I wonder how many people he's talked to who are like in a normal working job, because this is such a detached from reality take that if you're an accountant, you get fired, you just go find another job. It's like, no, it's way harder to search for a job than to switch fucking online platforms. Like, most of his fucking interaction comes from YouTube and everything. He gets way more views on YouTube than Twitch, obviously, because he doesn't stream on YouTube, it's videos, so they're there for a longer period of time. So yeah, like, the switch from Twitch to YouTube is not as difficult as a switch from one company to another as a normal working person. That's just, I would argue against that, and I doubt he would have a rebuttal to that. Like, I don't know how you could say that with a serious face.
There's negative externalities if a streamer wants to get a real job. Yeah, of course. And so it's really not that complicated. But anyway,
again, just stream on a different platform. It's not the same. You don't have to go get a normal job automatically because you got banned on Twitch. And typically Twitch, if you didn't do anything stupid, because you can get fired from real jobs for doing stupid shit. If you don't do anything crazy on Twitch, you're typically not getting banned. I know there was another recent case that happened, but most streamers aren't just getting randomly banned out of nowhere for nothing. You know the terms of service. If you are even somewhat safe, you'll be fine.
Anyway, yeah, so Hasan said this today, and naturally everybody is congratulating themselves about, here's a dumbass clip, Hasan being welcomed into the emo community. Oh yeah, he did the emo. I saw that with that Johnny guy. I looked at that earlier. And so there's a lot of people, streaming is literally the easiest part of being a content creator. You just sit down, make money, just spawns in. It's just so goddamn free. Who is this guy? Does he stream? They have 400 viewers. Streaming is easy.
400 isn't a small amount, and also you don't have to be a streamer to have an opinion on this. So I'm just gonna shut that shit down right now. You don't need to be a streamer to look at it objectively. If you watch a streamer, you see what they do. Like, I don't understand this. You make a setup and then you repeat that setup for the rest of your fucking life, and then boom, money. Like, so what? Like, you don't have to defend this. Like, who cares? Okay. What is the argument here? What is he wrong in saying? How is he wrong in saying that? It's easy. Like, he can have an opinion on that. I think it's easier than most jobs. And if it's easier than a job he's worked before, he's 100% in his right to say that, I suppose. Just like Hasan could say his job is harder than everyone else. He can get criticism, but I don't think Asmon is actually going to make an argument here. The second he pulled up if the guy streams, kind of proves my point. Because, well, Asmon, you don't work 99.9% of jobs out there. So therefore, your opinion on how hard those jobs in comparison doesn't fucking matter, according to this logic.
Being good at streaming is hard.
No, I think there's a lot of things. You gotta get kind of lucky. There's luck in every successful job. Anybody will tell you this. Businessmen will tell you this. There's some bit of luck. I don't think that's all of it. It does take work, but you also have to have either a personality or a really good ability to act out a personality. Good editors help. Time is a big one. Being a good streamer takes, like, what is the definition of good streamer? Because I'd say Asmon's content typically, from what I've seen, is low effort, But that doesn't mean it's bad or doesn't take any work, but it is low effort. I think Kai does a lot more than Asmon, for example. Like, this dude's getting on celebrities, he's jumping around, he's being hype, very energetic and everything like that. If we're saying what's a good and bad streamer, if you're saying it takes effort to be a good streamer, I would say objectively he's a better streamer, but I prefer watching like Asmon, for example. So like, what is good streamer? It's interesting. Maybe he'll elaborate on it.
Hopefully now he understands. I understand, obviously, there's a lot of people. Bad take. No, isn't 400 viewers good? Oh, it's definitely good. But you're not going to go and tell somebody who's one of the top streamers on the entire platform that it's easy. Do you really?
Arguments from authority don't work, especially when you're talking to a massive group of people. Argument from authority typically means that you have no actual point. Him being a massive streamer does not change what the guy said. The guy has experience streaming. 400 people is a lot of people to get consistently. I don't understand this point. Asmon's trying to make, it's obviously from authority. Like, well, you don't stream and get as many viewers. Okay. That doesn't, just because you get more views doesn't mean you're putting in more work. I would challenge Asmon is to tell us, what is this hard fucking work you do per video? And I want you to compare it to my fucking job or the job any of your viewers work. And then tell us again how difficult it is to be a streamer. You're liked because of your personality and what you do, not because of the content of your stream necessarily in terms of hard work and what it takes. You react to videos and controversies that happen. And honestly, the hardest work you do is click on a video that you found and then you leave it to your editors to do most of the work. I wouldn't call that hard work. I'd say what you used to do with WoW videos was harder because you actually contributed new content. Here, you're adding content onto something already existing and saying that that's hard is kind of funny.
Really think that Hasan's experience and this random's experience is going to be the same streaming? That's insane. Of course 400 viewers is good. But don't go talk to somebody who gets 20,000 regularly and act like you're on the same level, because you're not. All streamers have some kind of code.
You didn't say they were on the same level, and what does that even mean? What does the same level mean? Because he doesn't get as many viewers, you feel like he's not as stressed. You don't know if he has a family to take care of, which would add social stress to his life. You don't know if he has a sick mother or a sick father. You don't know if he's recently dealt with loss. You don't know any of these factors. And you don't know if he works another normal job. I'm guessing you don't know. You just clicked on the guy, so you don't know too much about him, right? You don't know any of these other factors that could add stress. And just because he doesn't have as many viewers, that doesn't invalidate his point. He's doing the same shit. He could be doing the same exact thing and have less viewers, or he could be putting in more work than Hasan. Hasan literally, his whole thing is like, the majority of his content that pops off is political stuff, and most of his takes, I'd say, are pretty fucking lazy and stupid and wrong. But there are a lot of people who are lazy, stupid, and wrong about things that enjoy his content. It's that fucking simple. It's like with the whole 9/11 comment and everything. Like, I get the point he was trying to make in that, but the way he said it was fucking stupid. He deserves context. And I know Asmon has defended this point, and I know because I've watched Asmon for a long time. But I don't care what his point was. It was fucking dumb. And he gets hate for that. And he gets pushback on his opinions because of that. This is an undue stress that comes out of fucking nowhere. If you're adding stressors to your life and your job purposefully, that's so. There are large streamers who don't deal with as much hate and controversy as Hasan. So this argument doesn't make any fucking sense. If Emerald came on and talked about her experience versus Hasan's, it'd be wildly fucking different. I almost guarantee, because she's generally liked. Obviously, she gets her hate, but I'd imagine like it would be far less socially draining for her versus him. But he's going out of his way to create that. It's not the job itself, it's the content he's making and the fucking horrible opinions that he forms. Like, you don't have to be a streamer to understand that. This is so dumb. This is arguments from authority always end up like this, because then every opinion Asmon has just made about every other job is fucking wrong, because everybody else can say, oh, Asmon, you haven't worked this job, your opinion on it doesn't fucking matter, it's harder. And he has to shut up, sit there and take it. according to his own fucking ideology. That makes no sense.
Well, what's the cope here? I mean, I'm not really sure if I'm understanding this. You say people disagree with his take on the whole job thing, made up fake reason to shit on him for it. When you added a word to his take socially, it does a lot of heavy lifting, unless I miss some context, kind of disingenuous. Well, he's talking about socially. Like, the reason why I'm saying that is because
I already addressed all the social things. Asmon won't be able to fucking deny most of what I said on that, I don't think. And I think most viewers agree, which is why he has so many fucking dislikes.
that's what he's saying. So, for example, like, if I listen to the clip, right? Like, you just listen to the first few seconds of the clip.
No. Social battery-wise, unless you're in
So, I'm not using the word, I listen to the clip. That's all. It's not hard. I think most people made up their mind on something like this before they listened to it.
No, they listen. It was
So-
a stupid take. Like, your argument is most people are fucking wrong about this, but those most people work other jobs and they can tell you from their own experience and from what they get to witness. Unlike streamers, they don't get their jobs broadcasted to everyone. You don't see what the fuck they're going through. I can watch a stream and see 90% of what you've done work-wise for that stream. Like, as I don't get this fucking take. Like, I can see a lot more of your job than you can see of 99% of people's. You don't see what they go through. You don't know. Location matters a lot for like retail jobs and stuff you talk about. I'd imagine one of my days working at fucking Times Square was, I had to deal with fucking hundreds to thousands of people on those like really busy days you're talking about. I had to deal with fucking rude people and like, so I don't understand this concept of my job is harder. It's more socially draining is what he's saying, right? My job is more socially draining than yours. But he has nothing to back that up. He didn't give any actual reasons as to why it would be harder than other jobs outside of, well, I have to look at comments. That's not sufficient. That's not sufficient for most of us. That's bullshit.
Whenever they have to hear context that makes their original assumption wrong, they're getting mad at me. That's the problem. Exactly. It's like a supermodel saying they have a harder job than a catalog model. Well, I'm not really sure. Hasan's an artist. His father famous for being the Young Turks. Everybody always has their opinion about Hasan.
Yeah, they're allowed
and
to.
I understand that you might not like things that Hasan has said on his stream. There are things that he might have said that have upset you, that have made you mad, that you don't like. Why not focus on the real ones? Why are you inventing things that didn't happen and then getting mad about them? It makes you look stupid.
People are mad about this object. Don't try to push this to something else. We're talking about this. We're on this. Again, I've mentioned other things Hasan has done, but like this is about the fact that he's trying to say streaming is more socially draining than other jobs, and it's just not true. Like, there are people who work with a lot of fucking people every day voice wise, which is very different from text on a screen that you can block out at any time, and they make a lot less money and they don't have the option to quit. And not having the option to quit will actually make your social battery drain a lot faster. It'll make your mentality completely different. Being trapped in a box is like the worst thing you can do to a social creature like humans, and there's a lot of introverted people that go out of their way to do retail jobs and other things like that, which they have to work with people. What about teachers who see hundreds of students a day? Depending on how big the school is, it could be thousands. What about professors? Like, you guys are forgetting all these other jobs in which you're interacting with a lot of people, but you have to adhere to a lot more of their needs. That's also something very different. You don't have to adhere to the needs of certain people in your chat that disagree with you. You can just fucking ignore it, or you get the option to respond or not respond. That's something most people don't have. A teacher's job is way more socially fucking draining, I'd say. You have to deal with unruly, badass kids all the fucking time, every single day. And they also have to help these kids. Not only do they have to help these kids who are typically ungrateful for the help that they're giving them. They have to physically be there. They have to be present. They have to be able to teach. They have to be able to do all these things. And then after that, they go home and they have to grade papers, work on lesson plans, and then continue working. So when you're talking about socially draining, at what point do their social battery fucking replenish? You think 2 days out of a fucking week is enough? And then in those 2 days, a lot of people are still fucking working when they're off when it comes to jobs like that. So what is the argument here?
If you have all of these problems with somebody, then it doesn't seem very legitimate whenever you have to make up new problems that don't actually exist.
This one exists. I will fight that.
That's what my opinion is. They're soft. Yes, the guys are making, what's this here? A career. These guys making a career of being bitter. Isn't that pathetic? Oh, yeah, absolutely. The area of conversation with politics is more draining than some other types of streaming. Oh, yeah. Hasan didn't start from zero. Who cares if he did? Very few people start really from zero. Most people have advantages, and I'll tell you one thing. If you're able to be talking in this chat, you didn't start from zero either. There's people in the world that don't.
I mean, zero, when people say that, obviously he's talking about the prospects of the fucking West. Like, come on, dude. Obviously, there's people with fucking no water and food. Like, most people aren't starting from there. I mean, Asmon's right. Most people aren't starting from the fucking lowest of the low, I guess. But there are better positions. I'd say I had a pretty rough upbringing, but does that matter? No. Was my life harder than Hasan? Yes. Was my life harder than Asmon? Probably so, yeah, for everything I know. And again, you guys are a lot more public than like the average person. Like, you don't know what people are going through. The amount of people that deal with some kind of fucking trauma or abuse or fucking horrible situations that they fucking crawl out of the depths from is insane. And to say like, try to equalize these things is kind of funny. Well, nobody starts from zero, true, but some people start from 1s and 2s, and he started from a fucking 10. So
have an internet connection, and you do. But somehow you're going to be complaining about how you can't fix your life, and those people who don't have an internet connection are working to get one. So you can complain and cry about, oh, Hasan got in, he's a young Turks, his uncle worked there, and all these things can be true. But the reality is that all of us have different degrees of privilege. That's why we're here.
Honestly, I don't think it looks like this is basically over, but I don't think the privilege argument matters. Like, none of that shit matters. Yeah, I agree with Asmon here. That just doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with the point, regardless of how he got where he is, whether he was born rich or not, or with money, or had somebody help him on the platform. That's not what the argument about. This is about, let's refocus in. This is about whether streaming is more socially draining than other jobs, and the truth is, it's fucking not. I have a far more socially draining job. I will argue that to any capacity that I have to or want to, and that's just bullshit, bro. My job isn't the most normal job, but again, even when I was working retail on Times Square, I'd say that was far more fucking taxing than what most streamers have to deal with. Person-to-person interaction, very different from on a screen with text boxes going all the way, going up. I'd say smaller streamers probably deal with fans more on a one-to-one basis more often. Just because you have more people doesn't mean you're more social with them, and then you don't respond to 90% of those people. So the argument, you probably respond to the same amount of people, and you probably see the same amount of comments. Just don't fucking look at the ones you don't like everyone else. You ban people, so the whole argument falls on his fucking face. That's about it. I'm a peace out because I'm fucking tired and I need some sleep or something. All right, later.